This episode is brought to you by Feedback Now, the world's best real-time feedback platform, and by the Experience Strategy Collaboratives. Welcome to the Experience Strategy Podcast with Joe Pine, author of The Experience Economy and so many other bestsellers, Dave Norton, an experience futurist and founder of Stone Mantle, and me, Aranza Savas, an expert in coaching, motivation, and behavior change. Each week, we bring you a trending story from the news and share our hot takes. Today, we're talking about an article titled, "They Have a Losing Record. Everyone in baseball is trying to copy them." This comes from the Wall Street Journal. The author is Jared Diamond. It was published July 16 of this year, 2025. So, quick summary of the article for those who haven't read it. Despite having one of the worst records in baseball this season, the Atlanta Braves have become the envy of every Major League Baseball team, not for their on-field performance necessarily, but for their revolutionary approach to sports business through experience strategy. The Braves have transformed the traditional stadium model by creating something called the Battery Atlanta. It is a 2.25 million square foot mixed use development surrounding Truist Park where they play. So rather than just building a ballpark, they made a bold move and designed an entire neighborhood that operates as a year-round destination featuring restaurants, hotels, office space, entertainment venues, and retail, all owned and controlled by the team. So the results speak volumes about the power of the experience economy. We have 9 million people visited the Battery last year, 3 times more than actual game attendance. And that approach has generated $67.3 million in mixed use development revenue, representing a 14% increase from the previous year. So most importantly, because this isn't considered baseball revenue under MLB's collective bargaining agreement, the Braves get to keep 100% of these profits rather than sharing them with other teams. And some would say their community. More on that to come. The experience-first approach has fundamentally changed the economics of sports and has turned the Braves from a $264 million revenue organization in 2016 to a $663 million powerhouse today. So teams all across major sports leagues are now touring the Battery and working with consultants to replicate the model, proving that when you design a holistic experience rather than just a venue, you don't just change customer behavior, you transform an industry. Dave found this article and shared it with us and said, let's talk about this. Oh, I'm sorry, Joe did.
Joe.
Oh,
Joe
okay.
found it.
I know. I was like, this seems so Joe. Okay. Joe shared this. One of you said, this is what we're all about. We have to talk about it. All right.
I did say that.
Okay.
I
probably just wasn't reading my emails fast enough to keep up with you guys. So, Joe, this is the experience economy in action. For those who don't eat, sleep, and breathe the experience economy, talk to us initially about what this means and how this represents the experience economy.
Well, the experience economy is what we live in today, where people prefer experiences over things, where experiences have in fact become the predominant economic offering over services, goods, and commodities. And so employment is increasingly shifting from those into experiences. GDP is increasingly shifting. And of course, consumer desire is shifting as well. And so Major League Sports or any sort of sports are one of those things that I always include as a traditional experience, right? Almost a classic experience. I mean, we've had sports for millennia to one degree or another. And so they now compete against everything else in the experience economy, but it's down the plate, if you pardon the baseball metaphor. It's a down the plate.
I've been planning that one for days.
No, it just occurred to me at the top of my head. I thought of it before I said it, obviously, yes. So again, it's down the plate experience. And of course, the one thing that truly tells you whether you have any doubts or not, whether it's an experience or not, is if they charge admission. And of course, baseball and other stadiums, arenas, and other places for sports all charge admission, right? Saying that this is an experience that you're paying for the time that you spend there.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about this particular article that maybe people just kind of passed on a little bit is that they use the word the sports venue is the anchor for all of the retail that surrounds it. And I love that little piece because it's, whether people think about it or not, it's a comparison to the anchor stores in malls.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what we're saying here is that the sports venue becomes kind of like the anchor experience that makes all of these other experiences work. So I just thought that was kind of interesting to think about. I'll build on that for a second. We just got in Salt Lake City. We out
Is it sports? Is
the
it
Mammoth,
retail? Is it
Utah Mammoth, which is our hockey um, club. So they took one of the malls in the suburbs and they turned it into the location where the hockey club practices, and then they kept all the retail around it.
Hmm.
So they took out all of the stores in that part of the mall, and then kept everything around it.
well,
And it's functioning basically the same way as an anchor.
Like, are there rehearsals?
The rehearsals.
I
That's
mean,
right.
it's the experience
practicing?
theater, okay? Um, are there practices visible to the
Yeah,
shoppers?
yeah.
That's
People can
cool.
come and watch.
Cool. So they've created an
other
experience.
scouts, I would assume. But
Well,
what's going on also with anchors as a sign of the experience economy is anchors used to be department stores fundamentally,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then they
Exactly.
shifted more to movie theaters, and
Mm-hmm.
department stores are actually closing down. And now almost all anchors are experiences. There's several malls, including the Meadowlands, I think it was, or at least originally called, in
New
maybe it's
Jersey.
Xanadu in New Jersey, that is more than 50% experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like the entire almost loses an anchor. It's like all the experiences become the anchor in that and that sort of place.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see that. And, I'm thinking back to when they built in Brooklyn, they built the Knit Stadium, which is, I mean, talk about urban development of a sports complex. Now, it wasn't all owned by the real estate developers. However, the real estate developers have a hand in all of the retail surrounding that area. So it was a planned development literally in my backyard. And they didn't plan parking, in case you're wondering. But whatever. They did plan
Yeah.
public transportation gratefully. But in general, when they were building it, our neighborhood was essentially taken over by eminent domain in order to build it. And since then, there has been a major economic advancement in our neighborhood as a result of the retail and the experiences that have come in to complement the sports venue.
Mhm.
It wasn't gentrification; it was sportsification.
That's right. Well, and you look at the retail that has gone in, a lot of it is really catering to the exact demographic of the sports there. So we have lots of sports stores, needless to say, but we also have a lot of sport related fashion, like Kith and others that are right there in the neighborhood. I'd like to
Lululemon, is Lululemon in
No, because they're
no,
not really the basketball
sure,
No,
vibe
too bad.
for
maybe
that
some
reason.
barbershop.
Nike, yes. Actually, our big sports store closed down though. But it's been really interesting to watch over the last 15 years
Sure.
how that has evolved and what it's meant for restaurants in the area. We know how much clutter there is in experience data. and how hard it is to pinpoint the real issues. That's why we're so excited to introduce you to our strategic partner, Feedback Now, the world's best company for real-time feedback. You've heard us talk about contextual insights and understanding customer situations. Well, that's exactly what Feedback Now does. They process over 130 million customer opinions each year in over 50,000 unique locations around the world. Companies who employ Feedback Now see an average increase in satisfaction of 15% in just 6 weeks, my friends. Feedback Now is the choice for real-time sentiment data collection for some of the world's best airports, retailers, and hospital systems. Why? Because they don't just capture immediate customer sentiment. They help you see the patterns in your data. No amount of AI can compensate for not having real customers giving you real-time insights into your experience. That's what Feedback Now, with a little assistance from Stone Mantle, does. And friends, I am happy to announce that Feedback Now and Stone Mantle's Insights teams are giving away a free pilot program to one lucky listening company. All you have to do is go to their website, which we've listed in the show notes, share your idea for a real-time data project that you wish someone would help you with. The crack team at Stone Mantle and Feedback Now will review all of those entries for the one with the highest potential to produce the most interesting and profitable results and select one winner, which we'll announce right here on the show.
Yeah. Joe, why is it that the academics and a lot of cities say that like sports venues don't pay off? I hear that a lot, and I wonder what's going on there.
Well, in economic terms, they don't, or at least in classic economic terms, they don't. I've read a lot of that research over the years. Haven't read anything recently that might be affected by this exact trend that we're talking about and making them more experienced destinations. But the city and often the state is putting in a boatload of money to get this built. And in exchange, they basically get tax revenues in future years and so forth. And economically, in the end, it does not pay off if you look at that, that pure money equation. How much money did we have to give in or lose in terms of current tax receipts to gain tax receipts in the end? But there are a lot of other reasons to do it. And there's psychic value in being a major league city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you think about attracting headquarters. What big headquarters company wants to move to a city that's not a major league city, that doesn't have these sorts of sports? So you're going to gain ancillary benefits that way, as well as the upping of the living in the places. People have higher levels of psychic value basically because of that. It can, if done right, it wasn't done right in Minneapolis, near where I live, but when done right, where it does in fact attract new tenants in there that do play off of that. And now they recognize, well, the best way to do that is to design them and control enough space. It reminds me of Walt Disney back in Disneyland in Anaheim, where he bemoaned the fact that he didn't have enough space to really wall off the experience and everything else. That's why all the carnival sort of stuff that was outside and the cheap motels and that's why he went to Florida to be able to start from new ground and grab so much space that he would never have to worry about it.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that, to me, is the essence when we're talking about experience as a strategy. Dave and I often talk about experience as a business strategy. And clearly, the business strategy of the Braves is experience. Clearly, the business strategy of Disney is an experience, but it is owning the entire platform and the end-to-end experience. And I think that's why you read in these comments, the word Disneyfication comes up over and over in people's perspective on this. And I think they're totally right, but I also think it's a really smart and viable strategy for a lot of companies. So I'm curious if there are other industries or businesses that immediately come to mind for you guys that you're like, man, if they Disneyfied and brought under their umbrella the full end-to-end experience, it would be transformative for the category or the business.
Yeah, the immediately what comes to my mind is actually done by cities, or at least one city state, where they may not use this term, but they're basically becoming an experience hub. That they want a place where people come to over the world. I worked with the Singapore Tourism Board a lot, 10, 15 years ago, and that was sort of the goal of what they're doing. Is let's be a place where tens of millions of people. Sort of 10 million is always my number. That if you got to get 10 million people to visit you a year, then you're an experience hub. And they're working their way up to that with everything that they were putting in there. You look at Dubai and Abu Dhabi. The Morale Group in Abu Dhabi has created islands where one is pure Disneyfication, and I'm not saying that as a bad word, of type of experience. And the others are more museums and more authentic and more slower experiences. But in both cases, that their strategy is to create these places where, hey, you go there and everything's there. You can do whatever you want. You can spend days there without ever leaving.
Well, and in Aransas, in your backyard, you've got Broadway.
Oh, I have
In
heard of that.
Yeah, and in Nashville, you've got
Make it
all
there.
of the Nashville music, the country music downtown
Mhm.
type of thing that is happening. So there are definitely things outside of sports that can create that energy that you need downtown. People don't live in the city for it to be empty.
Mhm.
They want to live in a city where things are happening.
Right. We had that during COVID.
Right.
Right.
That's not what that's not what they want. They don't want to live there. They don't want to visit. Why would they go there unless there's vibrancy,
Hmm. Well, can
right?
we do a quick experiment with this? I'd like to think about sort of a more unexpected category. So let's take a hospital. If we had to imagine the hospital Disneyfied, and what we mean by that is an experience that is taking care of different modes that the customer, patient, family might be in when they're on property. What would you guys add to the
Uh,
traditional hospital experience?
well, I mean, both of us could refer to the Disney hospital experience. We uh,
Celebrating celebrations.
Celebration Health, which I don't know how well they're doing now, but originally when they started, they were kind of like the hub of Celebration, which is a little town, little city that Disney created. And their hospital was also the workout center. There you could go and rent rooms to actually do remote work from. There was so much that was going on in
Mhm.
this holistic health environment that for this little town that they created. So, uh, but
So
I
they
don't
were
know.
inviting the community into the hospital when they weren't sick.
That's
That's
exactly what I'm
that's
trying to
exactly right.
say. It was about wellness. It wasn't about sickness.
Yeah,
You
I would,
just
I
have
would say think of it about as health and well-being. And
yeah.
that's the category that they're in, what I call a
Mhm.
sphere of transformation, is health and well-being. And what you want to do is you want to get enough land that you're able to do this, and then everything having to do with health and well-being can come into this. So you do have that one destination that you go where it's always on your mind. It's like, how can I be a better me by
Mhm.
going to that place? And so,
Mhm.
and it is Disneyfication, but it's not on what they'll call an entertainment level. It's on a health and well-being level. It's on a bettering yourself. It's on a transformation versus an experience level.
Yeah,
No,
and to
that's
some
great.
degree, I mean, maybe one of the earliest models of this is the university town,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So there, you have people coming in to be educated, get that transformation. They love the town, they stick around. You Earlier when we were chatting about this, Aransas, you talked about like churches
Mhm.
a little bit. Historically, in medieval times, they were the gathering places. You
Mhm.
need something that's going to anchor the city, and it can't be the public offices.
It's not a
Or
third
maybe it
place.
can, but it hasn't.
You
Yeah.
know?
It's not a third place, right? As we think about it, it's sort of a special place. It's
Yes.
not for every day. Now, some people will do it every day, but it is that special place that you want to go to when you're feeling that need to gather with other people, not just in small numbers like in a coffee shop or a barber shop in Brooklyn, but in large numbers of bringing people together.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about Shields.
sure. I mean,
From a past episode. I think that was a great example of the Disneyfication of a retail experience.
yeah, that's not the center of a town, but it's
And
definitely
yet it sort
a
of
destination.
is the way people were talking about it in the article that we read, that it was like,
Right. You spend all day
we're
there.
gonna exactly, and we're gonna travel, and it's like our big event after church on Sundays, and we all go and see each other and eat and
Yeah,
play things like
yeah,
throw darts.
exactly.
I don't know. I mean,
Well, I mean, for like rural places in Texas, it's Bucky's,
correct. That was the other
Right.
That's
example I was thinking.
right.
Yep.
That's where it is, right?
Did
So
you see the recent article also, I think in Wall Street Journal on Buc-ee's in Colorado, north of Colorado
I
Springs?
did. I know exactly. I lived maybe like 5-7 minutes away from
Right,
that
right.
area. I biked
There's a
through
whole
it all the
part of
time.
town that's trying to keep it away, and afraid it's gonna draw people out of the downtown, as if it had a downtown that people were going to anyway. Which
Yeah, Colorado.
it's really nice and all. I don't think
I
it's a
think
vibrant place.
Yeah, I think they're more worried about the fact that that is a beautiful green open space,
I'm
and
worried about the lights and
the lights and stuff like that. Yeah, it's actually Colorado Springs. You kind of go down. It's up and on the other side of the mountain, so it's much more private. But I think all cities to some degree. I mean, who would even know about Aspen as a city
right.
if it wasn't for the ski resort
Right.
or Park
Right.
City or
Right. I'm
something
thinking
like
about the
that?
film festivals and how they have transformed certain cities.
Even over a
Yep.
short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
What they become
So,
known for.
and to me, Joe, you always talk about how you move from goods to services to experiences to transformations, which we'll continue to talk about. But I think that one of the things that happens in an experience economy is that it lifts all services and goods
Absolutely.
Yep.
as well. It's not just that you make money off of the experience. Like they said, the Atlanta Braves realized they could make a heck of a lot more money off of the real estate than they could off of the ticket sales. And so, they're leasing, they're selling, they're subdividing all of that property. Technically, that may or may not be an experience. That may be a service that they're
No,
offering.
but to create the experience destination, right, is exactly
Right.
what they're doing, right? They are all built on top of each other. When you shift to experiences, goods and services tend to become commoditized, and it's often commoditizing goods and services tends to mean that you need experiences. So they're two sides of the same coin.
I would
Effectively.
still prefer to have my goods in an experiential venue
Yep, exactly.
than have my goods not in an experiential
Right.
venue.
Like
Talk
Shield.
about commodity. Yeah, like
Shield
Steels.
and Buc-ee's, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Not right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good strategic points. And I think it'll be really fun next week to continue this conversation through a slightly different lens. For those of you who have reached out to us recently on our Substack, The Experience Strategist, it's been so good to hear your thoughts. So please, if you're listening to this episode and you want to continue the conversation, connect with us there. We're learning so much from you, and we hope that you're getting some valuable insights from these conversations. Let us know if there's a particular article or case study you'd like for us to unpack, and we'll look forward to hearing from you next week or talking to you next week.